Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
All right then. Good afternoon. How the devil are we? Show 2 of 4 today for me. I know I'm a YouTube whore. What can I say? Thanks so much for joining us. It is a lovely hot day out there. Too hot for me. If only I could be maybe close to the sea in Cornwall somewhere. No, I'm close to the sea in Poole, so that'll do for me. That'll do for me. Welcome along. It is Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe. We're doing all the Women's Euros, and I tell you what, it is... Well, if you've watched any of the England Nation League games, it is so much better than that, I'll tell you, so much better. And if you've been lending me your ears and listening on your favourite podcast platform, thank you so much. What I would ask you to do, one other thing, apart from obviously subscribing to the channel, as it says there on YouTube, is please support the companies that support the channel.
Leicester lead again! The goals are flowing here now.
The Leicester Till I Die shop is now open. For all your Leicester Till I Die merchandise, visit the Leicester Till I Die shop at our website.
Indeed, good. All the details in the description below. Mike, good evening. See, I'm just not used to these daytime shows. Good job I don't do breakfast TV. Bloody hell. Afternoon, Chris. I hope you are well. Great mate of mine showing some love on this channel. Thank you very much. And you know, Mike, I really appreciate that. It's really only one thing I can say back to you. Indeed, he hates me, really. Anyway, welcome to the Leicester Till I Die dating show. Snog, marry, or avoid. And I'm not sure which of those 3 I would do with this gentleman, but let us find out and bring him in. You know him, and he's joining us from his holiday. Brad, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Chris. How the devil are you, as you like to say? How you doing, mate?
I am not too bad, to be honest with you. It's nice weather. I wish I could enjoy it more, but there we go. And thank you so much, because you are down in sunny, well, it's sunny everywhere, but you are in lovely St Ives.
Yes, I am. People might, got some lovely pictures that I've taken that could convince you I was in Greece or Spain or Barcelona. No, I found a place of heritage in the United Kingdom that's just as lovely. And yeah, it's really good weather, mate. Really enjoying it.
Yeah. And if the St Ives Tourist Board want to contribute to Brad, he has pushed you so much. You should get supporting him. Ryan, thanks for coming on. I put a link in my channel, by the way, and I think Brad has actually retweeted it as well. I've just been on Ryan's show predicting my places for the Premier League next season. Don't ask. Just don't ask, okay? So, thank you for doing this. I appreciate the fact that you're on your holiday, so I do really appreciate it. We've tried to do this a couple of times with Craig, but the women's football is proving so popular on the channel that it's been put back and put back. And I thought, if I don't do it now, we might actually make a signing, and it would make it redundant. But I don't think that's going to happen, is it?
Well, it certainly doesn't seem like that. There's not, there's next to no activity on the Leicester front. But, you know, there's different interpretations of what a rebuild is. I suppose at first you've got to make sure you've got the foundations to build anything on. You can't go around selling 20 odd players to then try and rebuild it. You've got to get your foundation blocks in. So it's frustrating, but you look at the contracts that have been signed over the last 4 or 5 months from certain players, it's somewhere. But it'd be interesting to see if we do any business before, I don't know, maybe before we play Brentford at the first game of the season would be nice.
It would, and it's interesting to see. And I'm getting fed up with Tielemans now, but you know whether that's holding everything up. I've just seen the first picture, so he is back here. Hopefully, Top is still here because he was obviously doing keepy uppies the other day. Maybe we should have signed him up. So hopefully them two can get together, and then we just know what we're doing. Because at the moment, maybe we need that money, and we're just in this state of flux as to, well, if we get the 30 million from him, and you know, Arsenal are dithering about, got the finger up their arse as always.
Well, yeah, but Arsenal tried to bid for 40 million and £1 for Suarez, so they're probably trying to do 29,999,099p for bloody Tielemans with a penny interest on when he plays for Belgium next, knowing Arsenal, because they're blaming useless at transfers.
And in fairness, I mean, I know he wanted Champions League. I could see him going. He wanted Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal were interested, I think, back in the Wenger days before he signed for us, with the Monaco links. So I could understand him going. You just need to get in. I think if Arsenal came along and said, "Here's 30 million," I think we'd take it, and he'd be an Arsenal player the same day.
Yeah, but the thing is, these clubs also know that if they naff around and piss Leicester around enough, then you could see the window close, and then he gets to January and he can join them for free. It's probably harder than people think. It sounds simple. He wants Champions League football. Leicester don't want to hold a person ransom, but Leicester are also, you know, like any football club, they're unfortunately we're business first. We want to make money, so it's one of the things that just needs to get sorted as soon as possible.
Definitely 100%. I'm hoping that if it does drag on a little bit, that he may say, right, let's give Leicester another season, sign an extension, which is basically what Maddison did. No, it wasn't. That's a lie. It's what Maguire did, which enabled us to obviously be able to add that. So he could easily sign a new contract. We would give him more money, and he could put into that contract, right, if a top 6 side or one of the, you know, or a Champions League side or a side in Europe come in for me, I would be allowed to talk to them.
Yeah, you know, that might be what we see end up happening. It wouldn't surprise me if you did see a 2-year announcement, a contract extension for 2 years. Like you said, it would have to favour both the club and the player, and 3 or 4 years is pushing it. I think if you're talking, it gives them enough chance to then say, okay, well, even if someone comes in for you January, at least we're going to get some money for you. Or if next season, you know, we've got a set price, and at least, you know, you can go out and prove his worth. I mean, the one difference between this and maybe other deals in the past is you don't get the feeling that if he doesn't get a move, he's going to just down tools. He's already come out and stated really early doors that if nothing materialises, he's more than happy to, you know, to get his head down and keep doing things for Leicester. So we'll see. We're in the grand scheme of things, we're a long way off knowing anything that's going to happen for where he'll be. Yeah.
I would say good afternoon to Static. Not seen you for a while, mate. How the devil are you? A legend. I don't know about a legend. Can I just say to everybody, there's a few that are in the chat now. Don't forget, I think your first time in for the new channel, as I've done it, there is a questionnaire that you have to fill in that says that you do understand the rules of the chat, and we do ask you where possible to stick onto topic, and also to sort of watch your language and consider which show it is, because some shows obviously are a little bit more flexible than others, and there was a more respectable time as well. Just everything kind of blew up yesterday, so we just ask you for that. So, Brad, are you ready for a bit of snogging, avoiding and marrying?
Yeah, why not? Probably more on the avoiding in certain circumstances, but yeah, we'll make our way through this list.
Let's do this. Yeah, here we go.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV.
Enjoying it as well. Want to watch any games? Stick on the channel. We're doing live watch along, so as many as we can. And we've got a double header tonight. Myself and Louise, who is all knowledgeable about the women's team and women's football in general. And she joins me on on most shows that she can. And we've got at 4:45, we've got Northern Ireland, Austria. Both teams of that need a win if they're going to have any chance of progressing. And, of course, the biggie at 7:45, Norway against Leicester. So, here we go. Thanks very much. Static says he'll check it out later. 4:45.
Norway against Leicester there, Chris. Do you mean England?
Did I say Leicester? Did I say?
Yes, you did.
What can I say? I've got Leicester on my mind. I've got the new kit on, the new hat, the sun shining. I'm talking to a good mate. What more could I ask for?
Not much more, mate. Not much more.
No. Right. So basically, as you can see there, this is in conjunction with Leicester Live, and they have a sell or keep option. I think it's a bit like Tinder, where you swipe left or right. You see, Leicester's going to be that good, Static, that we would be playing these teams. I don't know, after last season. So basically, we can sell, but the sell also includes a loan option. So Snog is loan, marry is keep, and avoid is sell. So let's go. And Static, thank you very much. It was never a problem with you, mate. So thank you very much. Right, and I think we're going to disagree on this first one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sort of say my thoughts. Brad will say his, and then Brad will have the final decision on what he has the power. What was that on?
Oh God knows.
It was on. No, it wasn't. The Dove from Above was on with Vic Reeves, wasn't it? Coo, coo. That I think. I was on that dating show.
Oh God.
Not
Take Me Out.
Yes, Take Me Out. That was it. You hold the power. So people are watching this thinking, what the bloody hell have I tuned into? Schmeichel. Now, for me, let's start this off. Schmeichel. He's getting to. I mean, he didn't have his best season last season, and you can argue that his defence in front of him, the whole team didn't have the best season. But we have got some good young players coming through, especially goalkeepers. We've got about 5 in the development squad. He likes a goalkeeper, does Brendan Rodgers, doesn't he? He's got a year left on his contract. He's not going to Belgium this week with the rest of the squad, Schmeichel. And like I say, it takes me back, and you're too young to remember, but, Gordon Banks at Leicester, World Cup winner, young Peter Shilton coming through saying, look, I want regular time. I want to move on. And they actually said, no, we're going to sell Gordon Banks and keep you, Peter. So we sold a World Cup winner. We kept Peter Shilton. Didn't turn out to be too bad a goalie himself, did he? And
no.
I just think to me that Schmeichel, he doesn't command the box like he used to. He doesn't like to come off his line. And I just think, we know his distribution's not been the best. Is it now time to move him on? You've then got Danny Ward. I don't think we need to buy anybody, because I think Danny Ward is more than a good understudy to come through to play the Premier League games. Iverson can do all the League Cup and the FA Cups. And you've got Stoycheck, however you pronounce it, that will be the third goalkeeper. So I honestly think, love him to bits. Obviously, I totally love him to bits. But I think for me, it's time for him to move on. Get Danny Ward coming through, who we know is not a bad goalkeeper. He's an international, albeit for Wales. No disrespect, Mike, but you know, I just think it's time. We need something new in that defensive area, and I think Ward, in a lot of ways, commands the box more.
See, I can see the pros and cons to either keeping him or moving him on, and you know, he's no different to any keeper of his level. You know, and I hate to bring it up because I know he's probably going to spend the rest of the remainder of his career still getting compared to his father. But, you know, Peter didn't last his career out at Manchester United like a lot of people would have assumed. Edwin van der Sar was a big name, but he didn't see his career out at clubs that he spent a lot of time at. And you have to make sure you get that right, because if you don't, you end up maybe keeping a name around and keeping a player around that's committed himself to you for as long as Schmeichel has. I mean, Schmeichel's been here a great number of years, and sometimes you have to let go of the sentiment to allow you as a club and a player to go. The only reason I would stick with keeping him right now is I would do exactly what you've just said, but I would make Iverson the third choice. I would make Ward the cup goalkeeper, because we don't have European competition this season.
No.
And I would maybe start to integrate Danny Ward into it. I found it very strange that he'd become a very reliable cup goalkeeper, and then Brendan doesn't seem to want to mix it up too much. He's not played a lot over 2 years, and he's now at that stage for it. Yeah. And Ward's also at that stage in his career, isn't he? Not too dissimilar to when we got Casper. He's at that right age. He's probably just entering his best year, at the start of what's going to be his prime years, as you do as a goalkeeper. And he's sat there going, I'm losing my place in the Wales squad.
Yes.
I don't want that to happen. You need to sort something out. And maybe I feel Casper's going to get this season. And you know what? We paid 1.1 million from Leeds for him, and I think even if we let him play the 12 months out and he doesn't get a new deal offered to him, and we let him go on a free, he will get snapped up. I think he's definitely still got the ability to do a top end job at the high end of the Premier League. And yeah, I would be waiting for the transition. But for this season, I'm just going to stick by him. Maybe let him have that final hurrah season with Leicester where he has the chance to be in goal behind a defence that's not going to change every 3 days because of injuries, hopefully.
No.
Well,
like I say, I can see it from that point of view. Static saying, why haven't we gone for Leno from Arsenal? You see, I don't think, if we're talking about Casper not staying, I don't think we need to buy, because I said, a £12 million goalkeeper who's played 2 games last season or something ridiculous. You know, he used to be the cup keeper, and then suddenly, like you say, last season, Casper was playing in everything. You know, I'm sure if we entered the egg and spoon race, that Casper would have been picked. You know, but I don't know. David agrees with you. Let him formally integrate to become more and more familiar with our team. We've had him so many years. I mean, you know, we should have been integrating him now. You know, there's obviously something I think Brendan doesn't see in him, because which
I don't even know. I don't even know if it's that, mate. I just think keepers are a different breed. You know, a footballer, a midfielder, a defender, and especially a striker. When you're 26, 27, you're kind of told, well, if you're not in the team by the time you're 23, 24, you're not good enough stand. But with a goalkeeper, you develop right up till about 26, 27, 28 at a push. And your prime years tend to be a lot later than that, because you're not, you know, even though you're throwing yourself around as a goalkeeper, you're not exerting yourself and being as extreme as an outfield player is throughout the 90 minutes. So you get a lot more in the tank, don't you? You see goalkeepers. Well, Casper, look at his age now, in his late 30s, and he's still holding the level he's at. So with goalkeepers,
I
it's a
shouldn't
little
have
bit different.
started on this one with you being a member of the goalkeepers
No, goalkeepers
union.
union. You see, now in about an hour's time, we'll get on to Wesley Fofana, the next one on the list. But no, you know what I mean. It's just a bit different. Maybe he's trying to make sure that Ward's at that mature level, and when it comes to it, the pass of the torch
At the end
is a
of the
bit more.
day, we have our opinions, but they see them every day in training and what have you.
Exactly.
So you are going for a keep for Schmeichel.
I am.
Ward, I guess we're going. I didn't realise he was up second, to be honest with you. I thought he was going to be a number 12, but I take it we're going to keep Ward as well because of what we've just been saying.
Yeah. We'll get through that.
So we're already causing bigamy because we're marrying two. And again, Everson. I think I don't know if you saw the match of the weekend when we played Notts County. Came on for the had 45 minutes on the pitch of the first half, and he made some good saves.
Yeah, I caught the first half because we were winning that half. I turned it off and I found out that we'd lost 2-1. But again, it's
your fault.
Yeah,
but
it was.
Do we loan
Sorry.
him? Do we keep him and, like you say, integrate him along with Ward, or do we loan him out? Because he's had a good season out of Preston, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think there's only so much you can learn at the under-21s level. And this is why we're seeing, and I'm sure you've got a few names that will come across anyway, so I won't go into detail about it. But, there's only so much you can learn at under-21s before you have to integrate them into the first team to get them on the resume. And I know the under-21s might do a formation and style of play that to get them ready for the first team, but there's only so much you can learn at that level. And again, with a goalkeeper of his age, and he'll be wanting to see this season or definitely next season where his future lies. Is he going to be the backup to Ward? Is he forever going to be stuck as a third choice? And if you get him out on loan, maybe send him out on loan to a newly promoted Championship side, maybe see if Preston want him back again, because he did well and their fans enjoying it, and we've seen the benefits of it, and it'd be good for him. For me, he goes out on loan. On loan,
right. I wrote him down as a Mary. I'll need to change him over. Dumped at the altar again, Everson. Static, thank you very much for popping on. Look forward to seeing you later.
See you later,
Jack says they've kept Ward for a reason. Mike, says keep Ward. I mean, he sees a lot of him for Wales. Jack then says loan Everson, and as Mike said here, Everson was good when I watched the game with you, Chris. He had that good first 45, and Jack loan him until Casper goes, then he takes the number 2 spot or fights Ward for the number 1. And I think if we get the loan right, I think if we've got like we did with oh God, my memory is going. It's the heat. It's getting to me. What we did with who did we loan to West Bromwich Albion? For God's sake, Harvey Barnes. What the bloody hell have I been drinking this morning? It said water on the can. Where we can pull him back if needed. Rather than sort of, a complete, where we can't. So if we get that right. So let us have a look who's next. And that is Stolacek, who played the second half at the weekend. And to be honest with you, the fact that we conceded the goal wasn't his fault at all. He pulled some good saves off. And I think, you've got 4 goalkeepers there. And I think a loan would do him good.
See, I don't know if you're gonna send Iverson out on loan, you're gonna need that under 21s with a solid keeper that can still develop. And I don't know how old Solacek is. I'll be honest with you, the age is a bit scattered in my brain on how old they are. But I'm assuming he's either early 20s or potentially even younger. Definitely. And I would be interested to see with how Leicester do their things. And again, you say the new training ground facilities, the integrations they have with the first team, I would keep him and I would put him in the under 21. So I'd give him a season there, or the under 23s, whatever you want to call it. And then, if Everton's out on loan or Ward has an injury, you've got a bench keeper who's still at the club that you can put on there if necessary. I don't see him getting in game time. because I think that would go to Ward. And I don't. And if Everson's out on loan, he's like emergency. I wouldn't send him out on loan just yet because I do think you need to sort of prioritise / protect your youth academy, and you need to make sure that if you send out 5 or 6 of the under 23s, you're going to be left with 16, 14, 15-year-olds trying to do it, and you want to keep the progression of that. So I would keep him for the under 23s. I wouldn't loan him just yet. Next season, maybe if things go the way we're predicting them to go, he'd go on to that mark of being the third choice that gets loaned out. But right now, I would keep him.
Yeah, he's 22 actually. He was born 21 because he was born December 2000. So he's 22. Right. Next up, I think we've actually run out of goalkeepers now. Castagna. I'm sorry. This is a quick one for me. Keep.
Yeah, it's one for me. You've got to keep. He's versatile as well. We know he can play on the left. We know he can play on the right. And during this season, and people may forget, during last season as well, we found he can slip into that centre back position. Whether that's a natural thing that Brendan tries to work, because we do see sometimes that players drop into that cover role. So he's too important to send. You're not sending him out on loan either, right? So he's definitely a keep for me.
I don't know, Patsy, when it's coming out. I don't think it will now, to be honest with you. I think that particular ship has sailed. So for Castagna, I haven't been doing this right at all. I've been keeping everybody. Well, we have.
You just love everybody, Chris. That's what it is. You want them all to stay. That's why.
I do. Ricardo, again, I'm sorry, but it's got to be a stay. I mean, at one point, he was probably one of the best right backs, if not the best in the league, and he was wanted by top clubs. Injury obviously has caused him a few problems, but I think he can play forward as well on a more of a right midfield role. He's got a goal in him as well.
Yeah, he has, and you don't, they're a fine breed to find. I mean, he's right back, right wing back, right winger. He's played all down that right side, and like you said, he's got a good hit on him, hasn't he? When he gets that space, he's not afraid to hit it. He scored some beautiful goals for us, and you say you need goals throughout the team, and he's one that provides it. There's not a sniff he's going anywhere unless he makes the demand himself. So yeah, definitely easy one. That is a key. And
I think he's just signed a new contract as well. So
that's what. He doesn't want to go anywhere.
He isn't going to go anywhere. No. It's nice that he's showing some loyalty after we stuck by him because obviously through his injuries.
Yes.
And I'm just writing these down before you actually say anything. Justin, I mean, he just made his first, move up into the England squad. Versatile. One of those players that everybody says, "Oh, wish we'd bought him," and they hadn't got the balls to do it. Leicester did. What a signing! Again, just signed a new contract. He's going nowhere.
Yeah, and it shows what I know about the scouting world, because I remember when we were in talks with Luton and the price was quoted at 12 million, and I thought if you can get that down a bit, maybe it's not such a bad move, because if it goes wrong, you can probably recoup the money. But I thought 12 million was a steep price. But I also said that about paying £1 million for a certain number 9 Jamie Vardy. So maybe I should keep that trend up and they'll all become superstars. But
indeed.
In terms of this, not only is he more than enough money value for money in what he does on the pitch, given everything that's gone on in the season as well, he's definitely key, isn't he? He's definitely there.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, when you're looking at these, there's so many of these players that because of all the injuries and especially the defensive injuries, Castagna, Ricardo, Justin, it's like none of them really had any sort of much playing time.
No.
Well, it's like getting new signings and getting this lot back, isn't it? Because once we got all the team back at the end of the season, we started, winning games and quite easily.
Yeah, we did, and it just shows, how this unit of a squad can work when it's not forced to kind of have forwards in goal and bloody defenders up front because we're down on numbers. When they're on form and they're fully fit, we were very difficult to beat, which, you know, is been shown in our last couple of seasons where we finished. So, yeah, it'd be good to hopefully have a clean bill of health this summer.
Yeah. I mean, Mike says here, Justin was the risky bargain buy. But the thing is, you see, Mike, is that Leicester and maybe clubs around our sort of size and place in the table take that risk, maybe like a West Ham, you know, or a team like that, where your Manchester Uniteds, your Chelseas, your Arsenals, you don't want to take that chance, and you'd sooner pay us stupid, ridiculous amounts of money for players that we have actually developed, and we're quite happy on that because we make money on it. Yes, he's turned into a household name, but like you say, the big boys don't want to develop; they want the ready-made package. You know.
Yeah, they do, and that comes with the territory, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. I'm not, you know, that is life. Then it always has been, I guess. David says JJ has to be a keeper. I thought he was a right and left back.
I did.
Oh, come on. That wasn't bad.
I'm with you. I was going along with it. I was with you. Oh.
Oh, God. Exactly, Mike. Exactly. West Ham risked it on Bowen for 20 million from Hull. Right. Next one. I mean, this to me is the biggest disappointment of last season's transfer window. He was free, so we're not actually going to, you know, only losing his wages. I thought when he was going to come in, I thought this could be the surprise signing of the window for the Premier League. He's got the experience. He's played for England. He's won the Champions League with Chelsea. We've got a young Luke Thomas coming through. He could teach him, and in those few early games, the pre-season games, he didn't look too bad, and then it all went wrong.
Yeah, it did, and unfortunately, he got that injury, didn't he? And we kept hearing he might be back, and then it got to a point where it went quiet for 4 or 5 weeks, and then it turned out, unfortunately, his season was done. I feel like Leicester fans maybe need to give him a chance a bit more, because he was robbed of a lot of the last season through the injury. He wasn't able to, and we pardoned a few players' performances early on because of the drastic way our squad was looking for the majority of the season. And unpopular opinion here, but with a decision I've got in mind for someone else, I would keep him around. Keep him around because you're right, he has still got that experience. And when he is fit and he's integrated, I feel he is still a quality player that can provide that cover and reassurance. He knows how to play in these big games. Like you said, he's a Champions League winner with Chelsea. He's a registered England international. So he's not afraid of these bigger games. And like I said, when the decision comes with someone else, when we get to that player, I would keep him around that squad just because of the back of the mind. You never know what happens in the world of football. If suddenly Castagne and Ricardo are out, we need that experience. I would have him there as emergency backup.
Yeah, I get that totally. Like I said, I thought it was a good signing. It looked to be a good signing because he was popping in those free kicks and what have you, getting them on, on players' heads. And you need another. You got Maddison, yes, but you need somebody else. Yeah. But like I say, he got injured and he never really came back from that. That did sort of hit him. So I get where you're coming from.
And we've got the 5 sub rule this season.
And we've got what?
So we've got the 5 sub rule to contend with this season.
Indeed.
So
indeed. Yeah.
If we're winning a lot of set pieces, we might put that on.
Yeah, and with Bertrand's experience, you could stick him at that left centre back if you need to, as desperate.
Yes, exactly.
This is the one I think that you were referring to, if I am reading you right.
You would be right on that one. I think we need to do to Luke Thomas what we did to Harvey Barnes. We all admitted it, that he was definitely brought into the first team squad a lot earlier than he anticipated. And I'm going to use a Football Manager console term here when you read a scout report. I think he fears the big matches sometimes. I think when he plays somebody, a team of, and I mean this with great respect, when we're up against maybe a Crystal Palace or a Southampton, he feels comfortable. He knows who he's against. He can deal with. He can match them like that. But when we seem to play a Tottenham or a Chelsea, if he's in that lineup, you get that feeling that he's already feeling uncomfortable. He's going to struggle to keep down his mum's spaghetti, as Eminem once said. He gets nervous. I don't think he's quite matured to the big occasion. And I would be very happy with him going to a Luton, a Huddersfield Town, or something like that in the Championship and getting 30, 40 games behind his belt, playing week in, week out. He gets that experience. He gets a bit of rougher tumble of the Championship. And I think, honestly, it'd be so much better for him because then next year, if we do let Bertrand go and he sees his 2 years out and he moves on, we've got that gap there. And we've got, then we've got the 4 to pick from that side. And I think he needs that development. And I think we've seen him, and I mean this with great respect to him because I do love him as a player, and I think he's going to be a future Leicester starting player on one of the wing sides. I just think he needs to go out there because it could crumble all around him if he has to step in against like a reinvigorated Man United or Man City game and Chelsea, and he has them games back to back, and he puts in a torrid performance. He's going to shatter his confidence. Get him out on loan, get him playing 30, 40 games a season. And welcome him back next season and integrate him into the team again that way.
Totally. I mean, last season I would have argued, and I'd say that, for a player who's played and scored in Europe, for a player who's confident enough to tell Jamie Vardy to leave the ball so he could score a goal against Man United, but we didn't have Castagna, we didn't have Ricardo, we didn't have Justin. We were down to the bare bones. And I'm not saying Thomas is bare bones. He's a great talent, another academy player coming through. But like you said, we've got Justin who can play either side. We've got Castagna who can play either side, and we've got Ricardo and the cover from Bertrand. So yes, I agree with you 100% this time. That we should not sell him, but we should loan him out. Johnny Evans.
Move on. Keep. Yeah. He's the Steve Walsh of this generation. You keep him.
We do. I think we still need cover. We do know the team performs better when he's in it. And his experience. I know Craig isn't a fan of his because he said, he stands on the ball, but maybe he's just not hoofing it out. Maybe he's actually standing on that ball to look at what he can do with it. But worry is with injuries, and I'm not saying he'll get a lot of injuries, but when he does, like a certain number 9, when he does, it's going to take him longer to recover, which is why I think we need cover in that area. But I agree with you. There's no way he's going. I don't know if he signed a contract or there's one on the table, but we've got to keep him. Is it even worth me asking?
No, you definitely keep him. He signed a new deal. He is the best, and I will go out there and say he is the best centre back I've ever seen play at Leicester.
Yes,
the kid's brain, and you forget he's a kid. Remember, he's a kid. The kid's footballing brain and the way he sprays, he could have been snapped up by Real Madrid. And if you think about the Real Madrids of times gone by where they've had teams and he would have. And so the fact that he's landed at Leicester's door and we've got him and he's been here for a couple of seasons and he's long term is keep all the way. He is our future. If we can somehow keep him here for a long time, we'll be loving life with him at the back.
Forget as well that he came from France, obviously, and he wasn't supposed to go straight into that team. He was supposed to be integrated into it, a bit like Daka Sumare and Soyuncu. But he had to go straight back into it because of injuries. Some players have to take the time to bed in, but he took to it like duck to a water.
Oh, didn't he? Just his first game. I still remember his first game, and ball was. I can't remember if it was like a coming together of a challenge, and the ball pinged to him, and it came to him at some place, and he just seemed to go. He dropped his body, dropped the ball, and the ball just dropped dead at his feet. And I've seen him do it, and it makes me laugh every time I see him do it. But he's got the ability, and he shows his confidence in his own ability to ping the ball 10 yards in front of himself. And before the ball's even finished rolling, he's already caught up to it. He does it so well, and his footballing brain is, you will be hard-pressed to match his footballing brain and his ability. I mean,
Agreed.
lifetime contracts don't exist anymore, but if you could, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now, this is going to be interesting. Soyuncu, I mean, he had that season when Harry Maguire had his last season with Leicester. And, you know, he came in, it was like, you know, we didn't miss him. Because he didn't miss Maguire. He came in, and obviously we do know he'd got a bigger appendage than Maguire as well. And had a bad season last season. Well, I say bad, not a good season, but then who didn't? And he was very much one of those. Oh, there's some breaking news going on in Leicester. It's extreme heat warning. No shit, Leicester Live. Bloody hell. Take the obvious. Yeah, I mean, who didn't have a bad season? You know, he had a very bad Euros with Turkey, but then the whole Turkish team did. They came home quicker than Nigel Farage from a day out to the, you know, EU. And then he had a bad season in a back four or back 5-3, whatever, that was struggling because of the injuries. And again, he was playing what I like to call that. Well, I don't like to call it. Rob Tanner called it that red danger zone, when players who are slightly injured or just coming back shouldn't be played because they're not fit. But he had to play because he hadn't got anybody else. So he was playing on in that red zone. I would tend to say keep him. I think you may disagree with me, though.
See, no, I can understand why people would, but I'm not going to disagree with you. I would definitely keep him because, you know, you point out an area of depth that we need to make sure we've got numbers in. Well, you're not going to help that situation. You're not going to help promote a Ben Nielsen into that position if you're then going to chuck him in at the deep end. You need Soyuncu and Evans and your performing cast of centre-backs that we've got to be here at the club. And let's remember, he wasn't just in the red zone with his injuries. He was in the red zone with his own self-confidence and form. He was scoring own goals. I mean, God, one of the own goals he had this season, 9 million times he could have connected with that ball and it rolled out for a corner. And everything he seemed to touch turned into a disaster for him. But he found his way out of it. And there was a few no smoke without fire, I guess. But there was a few weird reports linking him with Madrid and stuff like that. And I think the media were just leeching on the fact that Leicester were going for a bit of a traumatic spell in football in terms in case of results and everything that was going on. But honestly, you've got to keep him around because we know when his head's there and he's in a good form, and he was in good form coming into the back end of the season, he's a very reliable, centre-back partner to have. You do need an Evans alongside him, I feel, to keep him in check. But I don't see any benefit to Leicester as a club to sell him all alone and out. So for me, I'm agreeing with Chris. I think we've just got to keep him.
Yeah. Do you realise we've only actually disagreed on Everson so far?
I know, right? It's shocking. It's shocking. No, Schmeichel.
Still players to go. Oh, Schmeichel, yeah, we disagreed on. Well, this is the goalkeepers we were disagreeing on. Let's whiz through some of these now. Amarte, for me, came good last season. You never thought that you'd be saying Amarte should be the first name on the team sheet and who's our most reliable defender. It's whether he is happy to be a squad player, because I think he will be a squad player. But obviously he's got he can play midfield, he can play defence. Right wing's not his best, but he has played there. I'm a keeper with Amarte. I don't know about you.
Look, Daniel Amarte finally got the credit he deserves for the effort he puts in when he plays, because he came in first, an AFCON winner, and He kind of came with that ability that he could play centre back, central defensive midfield, and right back, but he was a jack of all trades and not very good at either of them. But last season, like you said, whether it was circumstantial or not, he found his way into that team and he held down that position. And you know, he was a very good contender for our player of the season. That shows you how, you know, how well he did and how much he impressed Leicester fans. And again, kind of for the same reason as Soyuncu, and with Evans in mind, you have to keep him. I think he's quite happy to be a squad player because I feel like with the rule changes, you know, you take into mind that, I know it's become a running meme, but Brendan likes to make defensive substitutions when we're 1 or 2-0 up.
Yeah.
And with 5 subs and with injuries and everything you're taking into account, I can see a Martin thinking, you know, I'm not just going to be a squad player this season. I'm going to get even more minutes because if we're playing somebody and we're 1-0 up who's like an Arsenal or Spurs or whatever, he's going to want to keep him. So I would definitely keep him.
Oh, I agree. And yes, Mike, I wish we had got Tarkowski. I think he would have given that experience that Evans has got if Evans is that injured. But he wanted to stay in the Northwest, so unfortunately he's gone to Evans. He's gone to Everton.
Well, he can enjoy Championship football next season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Vestergaard. And I'm mixed on Vestergaard. You know, we know there's a player in there, but again, you know, to come into a defensive situation that we had at Leicester last season, and again get injured yourself, not unlike Ryan Bertrand. I don't know on this one. I'm going to let you just to say what you want on this one.
See, the problem is, I kind of gave a back into Vestergaard. I was, you know, when the pitchforks and the torches were out for this disaster, and it was a disaster in the first couple of months for the club. But I would actually sell him. There's no point loaning him because he only signed a couple of year contract. So I don't know if he's got another year left after this season with us. You're not going to loan him. He's not going to get anything from a loan that he can't already do if he was played here, unless he says, look, I want to be playing more football, so if you can't guarantee me that.
He was cover, let's face it, he was cover for Fofana when he got injured. He was a panic buy. And, you know, we haven't got Europe, so there's less games. So, let's sell him. Brunt, I mean... youngster, I mean, for me, we'll go through the youngsters quite quickly. We're only not even halfway yet. Brunt, for me, loan him.
Yeah, I would loan him because of what you've just said about not having European competition. So his chance to integrate and be either on the bench or get 10, 15 minutes in a Leicester shirt is even more limited to him. He made a few good appearances. I mean, he probably had the best integration into the game, didn't he, with being a youngster? Because he came on against Spurs, but the game was dead and buried. We were 3-0 down. He had no pressure on him. He could go about it, and he's done well. He's had fleeting games. He's done well. I would be happy for him. I'd want him to go to League One. I wouldn't like League Two because I think he's going to. But I'd like to go for a League Two, League One, and loan him out.
Yeah, indeed. Keep move on. Yeah.
Yeah, move him on. That's an easy one.
Mendy. Now, I think we've got 2 options for cover for Ndidi as a defensive one, and one is Mendy here, and the other one it will come on to, obviously, I'm sure later, Chowdhury. And I can't decide 1 week to the next whether I want to keep one or keep the other. Chowdhury, I always didn't like. I always thought he had a red card in him, and Brendan seemed to have got that out of him. And you know what? He played well in that Liverpool game in a defensive role, which isn't his position. Brendan was blowing smoke out of his arse afterwards and pointing at him on the camera and saying, what a good player. And then we never saw him again for the rest of the season. But for me, I think it's time. I think Mendy will want to go, but for me, I would sell Mendy now.
See, based on everything that we said, and we spoke about it enough times, we were asked the question enough times, and it was raised to us enough times to ask. I I mean, I listened to that first half against Notts County, and it sounded like Chowdhury was out there on a mission. He was throwing himself in to get blocks. He was tracking back. He was making tackles. He was. And I know it's not
a great game. Had a good game. Yeah.
And I know, again, people say it's Notts County, Brad. They were non-league, and I get that. But I just feel for all the talk and everything, you know, Mendy had a very solid run in the team, and me personally, based on it of what I've seen and from and reading the room, I would keep him. Because I just feel that it doesn't matter what Chowdhury does. All it's doing is boosting his chances of getting an extra couple of million for him in the window. So I would keep Mendy.
Yeah. All right. You would keep him. Okay.
Yeah, I would keep Mendy.
We disagree on that one. Just want to read Sky Sports on the website. I've been doing a question and answer thing where you send your questions in. And the question from, believe it or not, somebody called Filbert was, why are Leicester not into transfers yet? What I think he means is, why haven't Leicester made any signings yet, which would have been better English. And Sky Sports reporter Michael Bridge says, we all know Rodgers likes to make big signings, but let's not forget Leicester finished 8th last season when they had the likes of Justin Fofana, Evans, Ricardo, Ndidi and Vardy, all long-term injuries during periods. That tells me they have a very strong squad. I believe Rodgers will want to get 3 or 4. Oops, and then it moves. I believe. Hang on. Where's it gone? I believe Rodgers will want to get 3 or 4 off the list before signing players, which I think he will. So yeah, I think that's pretty much summed it up, to be honest with you. Okay. I would be keeping Chowdhury and letting Mendy go. And as it happens, nope. Next up is Chowdhury.
Oh, I'd just be selling them. There just seems something about the tale of Chowdhury over the last couple of seasons, and it just doesn't make sense. The pieces don't fit, and I don't know if Rodgers has mixed the jigsaw pieces together, but hype him up, never plays well, never plays. And every sort of tainted story that we've had over the few years, the lockdown party for us, you know, scenarios and all that. I just don't know if maybe Brendan Rodgers sees a talent there, but has just lost patience with him. And yeah. I don't know. For me personally, I'd sell him. I feel like we've got a Jeffrey Schlupp on our hands in terms of he's got it there, but he's just lacking that killer drive to push on.
Rodgers is happy to give players second chances because all those things you just said about Chowdhury was very much applicable to Maddison as well.
True.
But again, we do not see what goes on in, you know, he may have come off that Liverpool game, Billy Big Bollocks, you know, and Brendan's had to say, hang on, okay, you were good. I've given you the credit, but you know, you're not Kevin De Bruyne just yet, mate. You know, so we don't know, do we? We don't know at all.
But, I think if we keep him, it's his last chance saloon to make it, because I would get rid of him now. I'd move him on. On.
Yeah, I think one or two of you know, either him or Mendy stay go. To be honest with you, for me, you know, whichever way it is. Sumari, as quickly as Fofana settled in, Daka, I think, is taking a little bit longer to settle in, and Sumari is a case of he's found it really hard to settle in. There's also the rumours that Brendan's wanted something more out of him in the game, and he's not produced what Brendan's been asking for him. Let's face it, I mean, you know, he won. Was it a Lille team that won the league? And you know, when you've got likes of PSG, that's not a bad, you know, there's a bit like Leicester winning the Premier League. I would loan him out, as I think there is a good player in there. We saw glimpses of it at the Charity Shield, and I think he just maybe needs more time to settle. For me, loan him out. I don't know what you say, Brad.
See, this is the annoying thing with not having any transfer action, because if you hear that someone's coming in, you just automatically go for sale. But I agree with you. Look, not every player adapts to a new country, a new style of football, and a new club like Fafanas. Well, they're not all Wesley Fafanas out there that do adapt to it. And he did show glimpses of what he'd do. We know Brendan likes a player to be more versatile, so maybe maybe he's not adapting to an extra part of his game that Brendan wants, and that's why he's not featured. There was some non-stories about him not being injured, which Brendan said he's been injured for a while, and that threw us off, didn't it? Because we were scratching our heads, Leicester fans, and then we get told, he's not been fit for 4 weeks. It's like, well, why didn't you tell us that? And I think it makes you question what they tell us sometimes, doesn't it?
Yes,
Because why don't you tell us that he's been injured and not training? Why are you waiting for that question to be asked? Why aren't you telling the fans? If you're wondering why Samara is not being picked or anything, it's not because he's had a fallout. It's not because of this. We're helping him adapt. He's in. Tell us what tell us not what we want to hear, but tell us what needs to be heard. And I don't know. I hope it's not another Kramaric. I would say I'm inclined to agree with you that maybe go out on loan. Again, get his feet, get his confidence going.
And then judge him again, on the thing. Yeah, I agree. Well, oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm at the point here where I just go. You know what I mean? I don't want him to, but he's going to go at some point. Let's just do it now, and then we can move on as a team, because it's just dragging on, and it's just creating a lot of bad feeling with the fans and a lot of bad feelings. We know what he can do, etc., etc. So a quick decision: loan, keep, or sell.
Keep him. I could. And let's be honest with you. I wouldn't want to sell him if he's happy to be here and play. I'd happily keep him here and do what.
I get it completely. Don't get me wrong. Excuse me. If he was to sign an extension, I'd be jumping up and down. But I think as the way things are at the moment, he needs to come out, get your finger out your arse, Tielemans, make a fucking decision. Excuse my French. It's doing nothing but causing problems and bad feelings and holding us up at hopefully building up with the team. Now, it might be that Arsenal are going to, hang on, but we can't wait for Arsenal to come in for you, because if they come in sort of deadline day, we still haven't made any signings. So for me, sell him, finger out the arse time, Tielemans, get gone. Dewsbury Hall, let's might as well just say keep.
Play the season is keep.
Yeah, let's keep him. Pratt, I think he wants to go. Not that I'd like to keep him, especially if Tielemans goes, but he wants to go, doesn't he?
Feel sorry for him every time since pretty much he's been here. I felt sorry for him because he got a good start into the team. Then he had that injury, which took about 8 weeks to recover, and he never seemed to really get his chance long enough. He seemed to get like a couple of games, and then he'd just go missing from the side again after 2 good performances. And I don't want to see a player wasting their career at any club. So Pratt, not by his name or nature, but sell him.
Yeah.
Sell him.
Madison, that's another keep. I would say keep and move on.
Yeah, we've just said keep. I can wait there, Chris. I'm getting a sense of Arsenal fans crying because we've said keep him in a Leicester shirt. Arsenal fans will be tearing their hair out here, and that he doesn't want to tread
right. I know nothing about right at all. So loan him.
I'd keep him. He's young. He's too young to be going out on loan. I'd keep him in development.
Okay. Lesabella.
Don't know enough about him.
No.
Don't know enough about him.
Let's say loan, because I've seen his name about, and he has kind of touched on the squad a few times, been on the subs bench, but he needs time away. Sanawat.
Again, loan or keeping under 23s. That's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's just say loan. Albrighton. I know. I'm like that. I see him as like another certain player that's getting on a little bit now, that he played so long a couple of seasons ago because Under wasn't the player that we thought we'd got, that we thought we were getting in. And so Albrighton came on, did well, and he had Roger sort of went, oh. And Albrighton himself always says, it takes managers a bit of time to get to like me because of the sort of player I am. However, getting on a little bit now always gives 100%, but I think there has to be a time when you've got to say thank you very much. If we keep him, and I would keep him, but purely as an impact sub. And I think that's the way another certain player is going, who we will come on to. But for me, coming on the last 10, 15 minutes where the defence is knackered and getting, to ping the crosses in, as long as we've got a striker in there that can get on the end of them.
Yeah, that always helps with his ability to cross it. I think Mark Albrighton, and he's so reliable. He's Mr. Reliable. He's the most reliable fox we've got on that pitch, in that area of the pitch, for what he can do. He's probably, you could put him in that category, and I don't mean that in terms of talent and ability, but he's like James Milner, isn't he? He might be an oldie, but he's a goodie as well, and he can still do a job. I think he benefits from this 5 sub rule.
Exactly what Jess just said then. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he will benefit from that, because then you're not thinking, oh God, I have to make this sub at half hour. You can do it with 10 minutes to go, and he can put some balls into the deep, and we can chance our arm putting more men into the box, and he's good for that. So I would keep him. Had it been the 3 sub rule this season, no, I would be saying so. But because of the rule, I would say give him a season.
I think he could come on, and again, he can play in a couple of positions, but he can come on and just create havoc in those last 10, 15 minutes.
So,
yeah. Again, we are completely in agreement there. There's a good player in there, but I think we've seen him for about 170 minutes in 3 years. It says it all. Good, time to go. We'll pay the taxi. Keep
Barnes. I think we saw that we took that chance to recall him off the loan from West Brom, and we can't look back there. You can't loan someone like that back out now. You've got to either stand by him, sell him, and he's not done anything wrong. He gets goals, he gets assists.
I mean, I can remember, a couple of seasons ago, everybody was, Scott, you're just being a very, very naughty boy there. Keep Perez just to keep Brad happy. Scott, I'm not annoyed. I'm not angry. I'm just very disappointed in you. Everyone was going mad, saying, the thing that's missing from Barnes' game is his goals. And then he scored some brilliant goals last season. Oh, he's too greedy.
Yeah, some people.
Yeah, but he runs at the players. He runs at the defence. He causes havoc, and yet he's a definitely 125% keep. But I mean, what we've got to say? I mean, he's got another year. He's come out and said he'd like to extend that. I thought he might want to be thinking about going to America. Christian Fuchs, he scored a penalty at the weekend. Christian Fuchs, he's absolutely doing well over there for Charlotte FC. Vardy, what can you say about him? I mean, if he's not the best Premier League signing that any club has ever made, or any player that's in the Premier League that has been signed whenever they were signed, find me somebody better than Vardy. But again, I think, we're seeing Daka coming through. So maybe a bit like Albrighton, maybe more becoming a super sub. But we can't not keep him.
No, we can't. And again, another player in a different way that's going to benefit from this new rule. And maybe when you look at, if you look at your team, really fly trying to attack my face there. I think this is benefiting, because we found ourselves over the last few seasons, and I know last year it was obvious, but we found ourselves probably tempting fate making Jamie play a game, because we know Jamie Vardy wants to play a game. In fact, he twisted Brendan's arm, which in hindsight wasn't a brilliant thing. But he played that game, didn't he? I think it was against Leeds, and he got and then he got injured, and that set his recovery back another 4 or 6 weeks it was, and then he made that appearance against Burnley and got goals then, and then it was better. But again, this five sub rule probably extends Jamie Vardy's career. Dare I say another 2 years? Of course, it's keep, mate. Build a statue, name a block of flats after him, name a house after him, build a shop after him. He's staying.
Yeah. This might be a decision the player will make more than the club. But for me, again, I've got to keep him. I don't think we use him in the right position. Look at when it was 2 up front with Vardy, he ended up being our top goal scorer. I think we wouldn't have finished 5th and got European football if it hadn't been for his goals that season. For me, it's a keep all day long. Yeah,
it's got to be a keep. And again, I think it'd be interesting to see how we go about it this season. We did see at points when Brendan reverted to 2 up front. And I think if we're being a bit harsh on Brendan with some of the decisions he made last season, because when he had his full squad available, that's when we really saw the best out of our front three, I like to call it. I know Perez got a few games in that as well, but predominantly long-term front three was Vardy, Daka and Iniacho, and they got some goals and assists. So definitely keep. I think I'm with you though, mate.
Because you need the option of 3 strikers, don't you?
Yeah, and I'm with you, mate. I would hate it to come to the player going, no, I'm done. I'm done sitting in the saddle and waiting. You either picking me and making me a choice or I'm off. So I hope he doesn't come to that, because I'd love to see him go and really make a name for himself over the next 4 or 5 seasons at Leicester.
And hang on, maybe my TV's about to go to sleep. I was going to say, I think he brings more to the game than just goals, though.
Yeah, he does. He's very creative, and you see the way he sits in a role. If you watch back and look at some of the way, and I hate to praise them, but the way Sky and that breakdown performances when we've been accommodated to play against teams on telly, but you see the way he analyses it, and he does take that mixture of what he can do on the ball, because he can hold the ball up well and he can play a passing. And again, this man got the assist that we're about to jump onto. This man got a wonderful assist for the goal against Notts County in the pre-season, didn't he? His
lovely through ball. Again, it's simple, isn't it? Keep.
Yeah, I don't even think you should have an option to sell them after a year of the contract here, so definitely keep him. He doesn't. He proved it as well. People, he got double figures, didn't he, throughout all competitions? What more do you want?
4 in one game, and you've got to make, I always say, you mentioned Kramaric there. I think he was one that got away because I think he was when in that Great Escape season, when he came on, at least he would have a shot, which is more than most players would do. But of course, Vardy came through, and blah, but the rest is history. And I think I always thought the same with Musa. I mean, he scored. You don't go on again, play a team like Barcelona and score 2 goals and outrun their defenders if you've not got something about you. But he was just never used properly. He was used on the wing. It was stupid. Hurst, it's a loan for me.
I'd sell him personally.
Sell him, would you? Right.
I would actually sell him. Yeah, I don't. There's just something about him that doesn't think to me he's going to quite cut the mustard. As good as our youth product is, I think this is one of them youths that we just let go. And I could see if he's not let go this summer, I don't know what his contract is with the under-23s. I don't know how big their contracts are. If he's not gone this year, I can see him in the release list next season. Just don't quite think he's too far. I think he's too far down that pecking order of the youth caliber to get on, so I would sell him.
How many of the youth players have we seen that we thought were going to break through that have been released this summer? And there's a right back, I think, from Arsenal, double-barreled name. Again, can't think of his name.
Vontae Campbell. Yeah, Vontae Campbell.
And I thought, wow, a couple of times I saw him, he was good, but he was released. So you just don't know. It's FIFA football, isn't it, really?
A little bit,
lastly, I don't know anything about this guy. I'll let you have a word about him.
I do see his name in the match reports, and it always seems to come with a bit of praise. And I do watch the highlights of the under-23s when I get a chance to, especially when they're in the EFL Cup. And his name comes up with promise. Again, though, I don't know I don't know too much about the under-23s apart from what I see. And I don't know his age. I would either sell or loan him out, because I think him and Hurst probably fall into that bracket with a couple of others where, unfortunately, it's do or die for them. So, yeah, it's sell or loan for me.
And which one are you going to jump down on?
I'll loan him. I'd like to see him go out and loan and see something from him.
Yeah, brilliant. And that is it. Next year we'll be multimillionaires, Rodney.
Yeah, if only. If only that was the case.
So it actually is food for thought there. We disagreed on Schmeichel and Everson. But again, that's an either or, as indeed was Chowdhury and Mendy, which was like one goes, one doesn't. We both picked, we could swap those over if you like, as indeed with Schmeichel. The only one then we disagreed on after that, believe it or not, was Tielemans.
Yeah. But again, that kind of just shows testament to where we are as a team. When, for entertainment show purposes, we could have sat here and you could have gone, right, I'll say this, you say that. But we do this as honest as we can, and we're very honest as the best as we can. And we know we do it with a bit of bias because it's our club, we love our club, and we want the best for it. But it shows how far we've come as a team, and it's testament again to the youth, it's testament to the players, it's testament to the squad over the years, that we're looking at 7-8 players and we we're not even discussing it. It's you'd be madness to be suggesting against what we say in terms of like a Vardy and Maddison and whatnot. And it's good. It's good to have a squad. I mean, I'd hate to be a Manchester United fan doing that, because you'd be crying after 3 names. You'd be going, I don't know anymore.
Let's be honest with you, you'd end up with a 5-a-side team, wouldn't you?
Well, you wouldn't even have that. They'd have to forfeit that game.
Brad, thank you very much, sir. At Fox's Focus on Twitter and The Matter of Opinion on YouTube. Details in the description below on YouTube. Thank you for coming on in your holiday. I'm sure you're dying to get back out on that beach at St Ives and throw yourself in the sea or whatever you do down there. I actually went down to the beach here at Bournemouth the other day, and I actually went into the sea with a tub of what was it a tub of? This would be a funny joke if I could remember it. Never mind. I'll save that one for next time.
He's lost the punchline.
What it is? I'm trying to think of a spice. Rosemary. I went for a dip in the sea with rosemary. Dip. Yeah, never mind. Anyway, moving on.
Lost it there.
That didn't work. I should have just quit while I was ahead. Dan says you're looking well. Scott says great show both, although I disagree with you both. Keep the Spanish sensation. Guys, I'm going to go because I've got another show in an hour and I've not even eaten today yet. So thank you to Brad. Enjoy the rest of your holiday, mate. Thanks for coming on. Your links are in the description below. Take care, and no doubt we'll speak when you get back. Thanks very much, mate. Take care.
No worries, mate.
Cheers.
See ya. Take care, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Thanks to Brad there, especially because like I say, he is on his holiday. We're trying to get that in before we actually do anything on the transfer front. We finally managed to do it. Mind you, we could probably do it in 3 weeks' time. We still want to make any transfers at all. If you haven't yet, as it says there, please subscribe to us. We would absolutely love you forever and ever and ever. And thank you very much if you have already done so. And if you are listening to this on the podcast, thank you for lending me your ears. We are back in exactly 1 hour's time, and we'll be looking at the watch along for the Austria Northern Ireland game. And then the big one. Join me and Louise for the England versus Norway. It's the second group. Whoever wins that, they've pretty much got their foot in the next round, which is actually the quarterfinals. So England versus Norway here, straight after the Austria-Northern Ireland game. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. And remember what I always say, don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too or I'll be back.
Cool. I'm out of here. Ooh, that's a wrap.